All right, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of New Distributor Training for Saturday morning. My name is Fred Holmes. I'm an independent distributor with Zija. It's my privilege to be the trainer this morning. For those of you that are regular attendees, you know that on an ongoing basis, we have different members of the organization filling in, sharing information for our new distributors. So it's not just me. And so if you like this morning, great, come back again next Saturday. If you didn't like it, great, come back next Saturday because we'll have somebody else doing the training. But first I want to acknowledge all of you that have come on to the webinar this morning live. It's great to see all of you. I noticed a number of our new distributors, some of our up-and-coming rising stars, several of our team members that, could only be described as, the who's who of Zija Elite. And so, but in particular, for those of you that are relatively new to the company, a very warm welcome to you. I know that on occasion we'll also have guests, people that maybe you're looking at the Zija opportunity, you've been using our products, maybe you're just checking out, what kind of resources are available. What if I decide I want to be part of your company and build, a part-time or even a full-time or even a significant level of residual income? Will I have the resources? Will I have the training? Will I have the support? The answer is yes. This is one component of what we've done to create an environment where anybody, regardless of your previous experience, what you've done, occupationally, that every single person can benefit from an involvement in their own home-based business. And I'll just point out that today I'm broadcasting, and I have no idea how many countries are represented here this morning, but I'm doing it from my home office. As a matter of fact, for those of you that I really haven't had a chance to get to know yet, just so that you understand what I do, Zija is a part-time business for me, always has been. My primary focus in life is caring for my elderly mother. She's 92 years old. That was one of my, white hot burning desires ever since I was a child, was to make sure that in her golden years, in her final years, that she'd be able to be in her own home, that she'd be surrounded by people that loved her. And the Zija opportunity has allowed me to build a business that has been, probably no other way to say it, but extraordinary in terms of, income, in terms of the people and the relationships I've developed through the organization, and be able to not only sustain at a very high level my business, but be able to make the business secondary to the most important thing in my life, which is caring for my family. And I do today 99.9% of what I do in the development of my Zija business is being done from home. And so with that in mind, in particular for those of you that maybe this is your first morning with us, first new distributor training, be aware of what we are doing here today. This is not today's session, today's broadcast isn't designed to teach you exactly what to do, what we do, how we do it. Okay, we've prepared recorded trainings to kind of bring you up to speed. And I encourage you to go to my YouTube channel. It's www.youtube.com/Fred Holmes Zija. My last name, Holmes, Holmes. I did have somebody say they couldn't find it on YouTube. That's because it's not Holmes like where you live. It's Holmes as in Sherlock or Oliver Wendell or whatever, right? So youtube.com/Fred Holmes Zija. When you go to that YouTube channel, you will see that's where we're posting all of the the trainings, the presentations. I participate in the Biz Talks on Thursday night presentation, the business presentation for prospective distributors. It's a tool you can use to expose your contacts to what we're doing with Zija International. Our Saturday morning trainings are posted there as well. And so you'll always be able to find, the recent presentations archived there. When you go to the YouTube channel, you'll see a link that says playlists. There's only one playlist at this time, and it's entitled New Distributor Training. There's a series of 4 short videos there that I encourage you to participate in. I kind of, for personal enrollees, people that I'm personally working with, first order of business is go take a few minutes and look at those videos. The first video is called New Distributor Training. It's a presentation that answers the questions. What do we do and how do we do it? Okay, in 30 minutes, you will learn the foundational elements of what was taught to me 30 plus years ago that has allowed me to build a business within this vehicle of network marketing and create, I've actually retired a couple of times now. I retired after 10 years. I went from being a cross-country truck driver in the mid-'80s to, 10 years later being able to retire because of this profession of network marketing. And then a number of years later, coming back out of retirement to get back involved in the profession because of Zija International, because of what this incredible company had the potential to become. And it wasn't because it was a, hugely wild success in the early days, but it had all of the foundational elements necessary to create, a legacy company. And then for those of us that are involved, a legacy or lifetime residual income. And so that first 30-minute video is what we call New Distributor Training, what we do and how we do it. Now, I've added 3 more little short 10 minutes, videos that are, together would be comprised what we call the Fast Start Training. How to launch your business, how to get off to a fast start, how to get into profitability, how to create momentum in the early days of your business. And so I encourage you to watch those 3 little videos as well. And take an hour. The fact of the matter is there are many people, not just me, but many, many people that have created what the average person would consider multiple lifetimes of income in just a short few years with Zija. And so wouldn't that be worth spending, 60 minutes of your time to get that information? So we encourage you to do that. What Saturday Morning New Distributor Training is, this broadcast, it's an ongoing event we do every Saturday morning where myself or one of our other top field leaders shares specific things for a new distributor. And even for some of the distributors that maybe have been around a while, have have more tenure in the industry and with the company, to help drill down on specific areas, to create a little bit more focus for your activities. And today, and for some of you on on my email list, you saw the little blurb, or maybe you saw it on Facebook, where I shared that today our focus was going to be how to set yourself up for success in 2019. And make no mistake about it, 2019 is going to be considered the launch year of Zija International. We are literally, hours away from our major annual event, the Zija Summit. The Zija Convention is going to be in Orlando. It's going to be on the 5th, 6th, and 7th, or the 4th, 5th, and 6th. Forgive me, I don't worry about dates. That's what I got calendars for. I'm just looking for my phone. Where's my phone? That's what this is for, is to tell me what the day is, right? But Thursday of next week, we will begin the first general session of the of Zija's 2018 convention, and we will be unveiling a number of things that comprise what we're calling Zija 2.0. Because in the beginning of Zija, we started with a product based on the Moringa oleifera tree, our smart drink, and we built a business literally from ground zero to a company that is now, over a decade in business. Cumulatively, we've done over $1 billion in sales. We're already have exceeded all but 1% of the companies that have ever existed in this industry of network marketing. We're already at the top 1%. And it's because we've been in business over 10 years. We've done over $1 billion in sales, but probably more significantly, we have an infrastructure. We've created an environment where our company can create $1 billion a year in sales without any infrastructure change. Okay, we control all of the, we control the sourcing of our raw materials. We grow our own moringa trees. We own our own pharmaceutical grade NSF certified manufacturing facility. We've got tens of thousands of square feet of office space, manufacturing, warehousing, distribution. We can ship to over 50 countries. We look like we're a company that's been in business decades, that that does $1 billion plus a year in sales, yet we're a very small fraction of that in terms of today's sales. And that creates an environment where timing is so critical. We are literally at the very launch of what people are going to call Zija International 10, 20, 30 years from now. So the question is always, did I get in early enough? Folks, you're actually a touch too early. Let me tell you when's the best time to join Zija: a year from now. Okay, that will be the best time to join Zija. So why would you join now? So that you can be ahead of the masses. I want you to think about this. Where would you be today if you'd bought Microsoft stock, decades ago, Apple stock decades ago? Where would you be today if you'd been one of those fortunate people to, have joined, the Amway organization in the early 60s, or Shackley in the 70s, or Herbalife in the 80s? Where would you be today? Well, all of those things have come and gone, and it's easy in retrospect to realize that had you gotten in before the masses, you could have ridden that wave to incredible levels of success. I am telling you today, that is where you are with Zija International. And when you have that opportunity to be in ahead of the masses, that's the right time to participate. It will be easier a year or two or three. Let me tell you, 5 years from now, you'll mention to somebody, oh, I'm part of Zija International. You'll get the t-shirt, right? I'm part of Zija International. And they'll go, oh man, I've heard you guys make a lot of money. Can you tell me what it is you do? And see, it's going to be a lot easier when we start to become more of a common known entity. Where the fortunes are made is not being in when the masses are already in. The fortunes are made being in ahead of the masses. And so today I wanted to give you 4 things to focus on. Now, this applies to those of you that are brand new distributors. Maybe you just started today. Maybe you enrolled last night. You got signed up. You got access to your back office. You're waiting impatiently for your first order of product to come in. Or maybe you've been around for a while. Or maybe you're one of the people that has started with us some time ago. You've been building a business, but now you're ready to take it to the next level. It really makes no difference where you are on your journey with Zija. These 4 things I'm going to share with you are going to be very important. They're going to be critical to your long-term success as we move into 2019. For some of you, this will be information you need for your own self to personally apply. For others that have existing organizations, look at this as the information you wish to be imparting to your team members. Okay, so meaningful for whatever level of development you have in your Zija business. First and most important thing, understand that Zija is a business. Now, it really is immaterial whether your goals are to create an extra, $100 or $200 or $300 a week of additional income. And kudos to you. If that is your goal with Zija, then you're at the right place at the right time, because it will never be easier than it is today to create that environment down the road. I'm not saying it's going to be easy today, but the easiest time frame to create that is now. Get in before the masses, before everybody knows about Zija. Now, that's the backbone of our Zija distribution team. Okay, people that are looking for that extra $200 or $300 a week, maybe $1,000 a month. These things that I'm going to suggest to you apply to you. For those of you that are looking to go beyond that, full-time income. maybe an extra, $1,000 a week. $1,000 a week, $50,000 a year. That's a good full-time income. For some of you, you may want to go well beyond that. The foundational elements apply to every level that you want, because we all do the same thing to get there. Okay, what I did to make my first $100 is the same thing I did to make my first $1,000, which was the same thing I did to make my first 10,000 and 100,000 and million. It's the same activities. The only difference is, in terms of income, is how long and how effective you are at creating leverage through permitting and allowing and encouraging others to be able to obtain success as well. Okay, it's that leverage that creates that multiplication factor. And so the very first thing that you want to focus on, put this in your notes. Hopefully you got your journal. I always have my journal handy. A matter of fact, I'm looking here at the different names of people that have joined us. I challenge any of you to think of a time that you met with me, maybe other than a social environment, where you didn't see me with my journal. I'm always carrying this journal with me because I cannot depend upon memory to gather all of the knowledge and experience I've had over the last 30 plus years. I mentioned this to one of our younger team members that, don't ever start the question with, do you remember? Because I won't remember. Okay, I have a gigabyte brain in a terabyte world. Made him laugh. He thought that was funny. Anyway, so first thing, understand that in our world, the vast majority of people are employed. Okay, statistics I've heard, 95% of the world works for 5% of the world. 5% of the world, they own businesses. The other 95% work for them. And so one of the most important things to learn, and we really kind of need to expose this to our team members, since most people have never been self-employed, we need to discuss and educate and teach the concept of self-employment. And that just revolves around establishing a daily method of operation, DMO, daily method of operation. And it's real simple. Business owners approach their day, their week, their month, their year entirely different than an employee. Employees are told, they know, what to do. They're told when to show up for work, where to be, what they do when they show up for work, what they're to do, what their schedules to be throughout the day, and at the end of the day, they're told when to go home. Okay, that's what employees do. Now, they are not held accountable for monitoring their progress or their results. That'll happen at the, semi-annual, typically back when I had a job, you had an evaluation after the first 90 days to see if you're going to stay. And then typically there was an annual evaluation to determine how well you were doing your job, and the employer or the supervisor would do that. And so employees are held accountable for following instructions: when to show up, where to show up, what to do, when to take your breaks, and then when to go home. Now, business owners, they have to approach their daily method of operation in an entirely different focus. They have to determine when the shop is going to be open. They have to determine what are the activities that are going to be required on a daily basis to create the income, the revenue that is necessary to come from their business. They are held accountable, they hold themselves accountable for progress, performance. They monitor their numbers. And so this concept of self-employment mentality is something we have to teach. We have to expose people to, because it's an entirely different mindset than what most people experience in their life. Now, when I first started in network marketing, I did have an advantage. I was a cross-country truck driver at the time. I worked for independents, so, fellow would own a truck, I would drive the truck, and then we had a contract with, a carrier or whatever to provide the service of transportation. Now, as an independent trucker, I certainly did have things like I was told, you need to pick up, there's 4 different places you need to pick up to get the load of the trailer. And then I was told you need to have that load in, Lincoln, Nebraska by 5 p.m. local time on Friday. That was the scheduled delivery time. And so, but beyond that framework, I was the one that had to determine what order did I make my stops for my pickup. What route did I have to take to get to Lincoln, Nebraska from where I started out? How many miles per day I had to accomplish to get there. There wasn't anybody telling me, do this, do that, and I had to be accountable for that, or else I didn't have a job, okay? And one of the things that I learned very quickly is the skill sets that I had developed in that occupation and other things I've done in my life, and just how I was raised. I was raised by a single mom. Mom always had a full-time job, a part-time job, and typically a part-time job. And she had to manage all of that activity, without any help, without any child support, and she had to do it around the schedule of 2 young children. I mean, I really didn't understand from my life experiences anything other than hard work and consistency on a daily basis. That's all I understood. I mean, there was no such thing as vacations and weekends and that kind of stuff. It was, that's what I was exposed to. And so when I started network marketing, a lot of the things that most people have to develop, the skill sets and the mindset they have to develop, I already had. I already understood that I had to plot my path, if you will, plot my route to the destination. I had to know what the destination was. I needed to know the activities and how much of those activities were required to get there. This concept of self-employment is really important. Now, if you go to the YouTube channel, you will find and I may actually add some of these to the playlist, make it easier. I've done a couple of different broadcasts where I talk about how to set up a daily method of operation. I'm not going to go into that this morning because it's beyond the scope of what we're doing here. There are a couple other things I wanted to cover, but just be very clear. If you want to succeed in your own home-based business, you're going to have to be a business owner. You're going to have to make those decisions as to the correct activities, how much, set short-term and long-term goals. You can't tell if you're there if you haven't determined where there is yet. These are all the kinds of things that are not normally behavior patterns of employees, but 95% of the people you're going to work with in your Zija business, or 95% of you, have employee skill sets, and you need to translate those into employer or self-employment, mindset and activities. Number 2, get grounded in the fundamentals. I want you to think about this for a minute. If you are let's say you're, a bus driver, you're an auto mechanic, you're, a secretary, or whatever your occupation is, would you think you could do brain surgery because you watched an episode of, Grey's Anatomy? No, of course not. You're a secretary, you're a truck driver, you're an auto mechanic. You don't think you can do brain surgery. You don't think that you're a forensic scientist because you watched an episode of CSI. Okay, that's just common sense. But for whatever reason, when people get involved in network marketing, they think they already know what it is we do. And if it was as simple as reading a book, then I'd have no job. I'd be out at the beach already today, right? No, you have to become grounded in the fundamentals, the basics of what we do. You have to learn what we do. And one of the biggest challenges in our profession is anybody can be a network marketer. If you got your $20 for your registration fee, get a little bit of product on hand, you're a network marketer. Doesn't make much sense to think that with that alone, or maybe your sponsor just got started and they've made $50 last week. it's very difficult to translate that level of knowledge into creating a full-time or a six-figure or an incredibly high level of income in a profession that you've never done it in before. It's something I tried to teach my boys as they were growing up. You can't teach something you don't know. Okay, so get grounded in the fundamentals, get plugged in. That's number 3. Grounded in the fundamentals. One suggestion I already made to you: go to my YouTube channel, check out the 4 little videos that comprise the new distributor training and fast start training. That's a great way to get the foundational elements, the fundamentals of what we do. Be plugged in. Number 3, be plugged in. Communicate with your established upline. Now, let me tell you what's happening in Zija today. We're growing so fast that you, as a brand new distributor, may have been sponsored by somebody that's been in a week longer than you, and maybe their sponsor's been in 2 weeks longer than you, and the next upline's only been in a month longer than you. And unless they happen to be somebody that's already created substantial income within the profession, they can't teach you something that you don't know. However, every single person in Zija has an upline lineage that includes some of our top income earners, and not just in Zija, top income earners in the entire profession. You can find your upline lineage in your back office. You can call distributor support and ask, who is my upline diamond? Somebody who's achieved the rank of, gold, platinum, emerald, diamond, and above. These are people that have learned how to do what we do. And you should be connecting with those people. Okay, so number 1, understand self-employment status, how to establish a daily method of operation. Number 2, get grounded in the fundamentals. Get the, that new distributor training videos that I discussed. Number 3, get plugged into the system in the upline. Now, part of getting plugged in is to the upline. Part of it's getting plugged into the system. Learn what we have available. There are many different teams within Zija. I'm only speaking to the team that I work with. Personally, there's some incredible leaders that are part of this organization: Pat Anderson, Amy McKenzie, Reed and Yvonne Nelson, Pat Terry, Mac McDonald, Agnes and Ganetti. There's so many different organizations that are part of this organization. There are many people to get plugged into. Many of the leaders provide resources, tools for you to use. So, for instance, David Moses, and geez, practically everybody in Zija's, part of David Moses's organization. David Moses does on Monday evening at 9:30 Eastern a Facebook Live presentation. Typically, we call it Millionaires in Training. It's personal development mindset that's necessary to create, large success in your business. Be on one of those, and the good news is even if you can't be on at that particular moment on Monday evening, it's recorded on his Facebook page, David Moses OTW, at David Moses OTW. Tuesday evening, Pat Anderson does a webinar broadcast, which is like a business presentation. It's a home presentation on the Zija company and products brought to your home via the internet. On Wednesday evening, Pat does what we call Health Talks with Pat. It's a product-focused presentation, not only for your information, but it's a tool that can be used. I'm going to have, let's see here. I'm going to put this in right now. If you open up your chat box, www.clubmoringa.com, that's Pat's website. Okay, and when I say it's Pat's website, this is a tool that she's created for the benefit of all of Zija. You don't have to be part of, her specific organization. She's created that for everybody, and so you can access those presentations there. On Thursday evening at 8:30 Eastern Time, Myself or one of the team members conducts Biz Talks. It's called Biz Talks with Fred, but we change that. We make it Biz Talks with Candace or Biz Talks with Amy or whoever happens to be the guest presenter. We do a short introduction to the company story, product story, opportunity, and then we hear from, live from one of our distributors. Sometimes they're brand new distributors that have gotten off to a fast start, rising stars. Sometimes there's 10-year distributors that have been around for years and have made millions of dollars. But what it is, it's an exposure tool for those of you that are looking to develop distribution teams so that you can share with others the opportunity and the results that can come from our type of business, and particularly with Zija, and not have to be that person, okay? You don't have to have that story when you've got access to these tools. So get plugged into your upline, get plugged into the resources, the system we call it, of what's available to you for exposure and presentation. Finally, number 4, and those first 3 items, self-employment or daily method of operation, understand, get grounded, learn the fundamentals, get plugged into your upline and the system of resources we have. All of those things are necessary to establish yourself as a successful Zija distributor. And when I say successful at whatever level your goals have been set. If your goal is to create $200 or $300 a week of income, and you can, in a period of time, create a monthly residual income of $1,000 a month, think about how many families in America would die to have an extra $1,000 a month of income for their family. That's an incredible goal. Maybe yours is to be able to, create, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 a year of income so that one of the parents can stay home and raise the kids instead of having 2 parents working. Okay, what a powerful goal. For some of us, it's been the ability to create, frankly, unbelievable levels of financial prosperity, not only so that we can care for our family and our friends, but do things that are meaningful to us for our world. Whatever it is that your goal is, that's what's meaningful to you. And success is obtaining that goal. Now, the last component I want to talk about is what to do between now and January 1 to set up your success for 2019. Because I'm going to tell you right now, whatever you accomplish financially in 2019, you can literally double or triple that in 2020. And whatever you accomplish in 2019 financially, you could literally make that a monthly income in 2021, 2022. Look at your Zija career as being a 3 to 5 year game plan. So many of us, and I see a number of people here that have joined the webinar since we started, who did just that. I spent 36 months to set into place a residual income that has kept me at the top 1% of earners in this country, and I've done it part-time from home, and I'm not the only one. And quite frankly, I'm not the best one. Okay, I'm just going to be candid with you. I've done this for many, many years. I'm not going to say I'm some schlock and I don't know what I'm doing. I do know what I'm doing. I'm pretty good at it, but I'm not great. Okay, what I lacked in some of the levels of performance and skill sets that I see people like like Pat Anderson, like Reed Nelson, who are with us on the broadcast right now. What I didn't have, to be able to match their competency and skill sets, I made up for in focus and energy, just doing the deal. Now, what do you want to do for 2019? And I'm not speaking about this from the perspective of academic. I'm speaking about this from a perspective of actually having done it. Okay, and I'm going to go back 10 years. In 2008, I launched my Zija business. At the time, we had an antiquated compensation plan, couldn't make nearly the money you can make with Zija today. We had one product, okay, that was very difficult to market because it was came in a can. Imagine, going into a, a home meeting and having to hire somebody to carry in your product, right? That's what we had back then. Now, and I'm not saying I was an overnight success, because I wasn't. But the first thing I did day one out of the gate is I focused on creating my story, because my story was going to be my #1 tool for building my business that week, that month, that year, and for the next years to come. One of the new distributor training videos that I just talked about on my YouTube channel in the playlist section is how to create your story. So I encourage you to listen to that video. The next objective was to create momentum in my business. And what I did is I worked what's referred to as a 90-day game plan. I started at the beginning of January. I did a 90-day game plan, and there's another video on what a 90-day game plan is. I encourage you to listen to that video. And I did a 90-day game plan January, February, March of 2008. And as soon as that 90-day game plan was done, I started another one, April, May, June. And I did it again, July, August, September. And that parlayed into the first Zija convention that I attended in my career with this company. Now, following that, I did one more 90-day game plan. It was the most important of the 4 90-day game plans because of the timing of the year. It was October, November, December of 2008. Now, by doing 3 90-day game plans back to back, that created momentum in my business, so much so that when I went to that very first convention, I had a few people on my team go with me. So it wasn't only the information and the motivation and the inspiration that I received from convention, but it was also imparted to half a dozen of my team. And that meant I had a 6-fold increase, a magnitude increase. It's almost logarithmic, like the earthquake, numbers. It was a logarithmic increase in my momentum because of the people that I brought to convention. Then I didn't skip a beat. October, November, and December, I went into a final 4th 90-day game plan. Now, what happened in those last 90 days was a result of having built a business, or build the business in that first 9 months. But it was the most critical 90 days because it allowed me to literally double the income of the previous 90 days. Now, I want you to know, somebody just getting started now, you don't have the last 9 months, of Zija to work with. But I want you to hear what was the most important part. It set up the beginning of 2009. We're exactly 1 decade later. For those of you that are paying attention to what I'm saying right now, be aware that the next, 92 days of your Zija career can be the most important days to setting up the next 3 to 5 years with Zija. And I'm just going to illustrate using my personal experience. Every single one of you who can possibly make it to convention Thursday of next week in Orlando, there is absolutely no substitute for being there. Do whatever you can to be there. It will be a major advantage to you. Now, if you can't make it, you can't make it. And, I don't worry about disadvantages, okay, because they don't help me at all. But do what you can. If it's at all possible, be at the convention so you can firsthand experience the launch of Zija International, now, of Zija 2.0. Now, coming out of convention, we've got October, November, and December, essentially 90 days to set up where we launched 2019. Now, go backwards 10 years. I left convention and I was incredibly focused to make the last 90 days of the year the most efficient and effective days of that year that I could. And I was deeply grounded in my daily method of operation, sharing the product, sharing the opportunity, teaching others to do the same on a daily basis, and I did not skip a beat. Now, that is not normal, okay? Remember what, at the top of the hour when we were talking about, 95%, 5%? The 95%ers, okay, they start losing focus halfway through October because Halloween's coming up, right? And we got to get ready for Halloween. When I used to have a job, they didn't give me Halloween off. I mean, that was not a holiday. Most people will lose focus, halfway through November because Thanksgiving's coming up. Well, that doesn't mean they stop going to work. They keep going to work. But one of the privileges and one of the challenges of having your own part-time home-based business, one of the privileges is it's your business. You can choose to work it or not. One of the challenges is it's your business. You can choose to work it or not. And the vast majority of us, especially those of us, virtually everybody starts on part-time basis, we all have that choice to commit 1 hour a day to the development of our Zija business or not. That's our privilege because we're business owners now, right? I made the decision to be focused on a daily basis to accomplish goals created the night before on sharing the product, sharing the opportunity, teaching others to do the same. And I was consistent throughout all of October. I didn't take Halloween off. I did take the evening off because that's a very special holiday to Mom. She loves sitting in her chair and watching all the little neighborhood kiddies come to the door, and I facilitate that so she can have that enjoyment. So that evening, I took off after working that day. November, daily method of operation, share the product, share the opportunity, teach others to do the same. I was consistent. Did I take Thanksgiving off? Sure, I took Thanksgiving off. Because back when I used to have a job, I got 1 day off for Thanksgiving. I didn't get the week off. I didn't get the month off. They gave me 1 day. Come January or come December, same thing. Daily method of operation, consistency every single day. Because I remember back when I used to have a job, I didn't get the whole month off to prepare for Christmas. They gave me 1 day off. And if you owned a business, you wouldn't start closing your doors early in December because you got to get ready for Christmas. Okay? The 95% that work for a living, they keep showing up for work. Now, they may be, these days, they may be spending more time on, shopping on Amazon than doing what the employer wants them to do. That may be a fact, but they keep showing up for work. What I'm sharing with you folks, if you don't lose focus, but rather you get grounded in the fundamentals, you get plugged in, you establish your daily method of operation, and you be consistent for the next 90 days, here's what's going to happen. You're going to have some customers. You're going to have some distributors. How many you're going to have depends on how many people you talk to. But you're going to create some momentum. But more importantly, here's what you're really going to have, is you're going to have multiple exposures. And the closer we get to the end of the year, the more you're going to hear people saying, well, sounds like a great product. Soon as I get through the holidays, I want to start on your product to lose some weight. Some of us are going to say, why not get started now? That way you don't gain a lot of weight during the holidays. But you're going to have a lot of people that will put you off till the end of the year and be starting the beginning of the year. There'll be people who will say, sounds like a great opportunity. I'm going to use the products. I need to get through the holidays. But as soon as the first year comes, I want to get in and start building a business. So you're going to get some activity today, but you're going to be having a lot of seeds planted for the beginning of the year. Now, what happens in the first quarter of 2019? One of two things. For those of you that stay consistent over the next 90 days, doing what we do, share the product, share the opportunity, teach others to do the same, you will create momentum in your business for this time frame, and you will have potential momentum for your business that'll allow you to hit the ground running come January 1 of 2019. That's what I did 10 years ago. The most amount of energy and focus I put into my business was in that last 90 days. I hit the beginning of 2019 and simply did exactly what I did to establish my business a year before. I worked a 90-day game plan for the first quarter of 2019. Then I did it again for April, May, June. And I did it again for July, August, September. That led us into that second Zija convention I attended. And I had several hundred people at that convention. And then I continued following the convention, October, November, December. I didn't skip a beat. My second year, 2009, that income was literally 5 times the first year's income. 5 times. And it was all based upon a 90-day game plan, but strategically focusing on particular times of the year. That last quarter of the year of 2008 was critical. And the first quarter of 2009 was critical, because the groundwork you lay at the beginning of the year, that first 90 days, whatever your income is in that first 90 days, you can expect to double or triple that in the last 90 days of the year, assuming you continue to keep your foot on the throttle. And how did I set up a terrific 2009? It was in the previous 90 days of 2008. Now, fast forward 10 years, deja vu all over again. We've got the most significant event in the decade history of Zija. You know, the Zija's history of just over a decade in business now. The most significant event is about to occur next week. Do whatever you got to do to be there. And if you can, it'll be a tremendous advantage to you. So with that, that concludes what I wanted to share today. I am going to go ahead and open things up here for a moment. If there are any questions, if you have a comment, go to your little chat box. I'll see what I can cover in the time we have allotted here. I've got about 10 minutes left that I'm scheduled for. Let's see, from me to all participants, this is very good, thank you. 3 90-day game plans, make that 4 90-day game plans. Okay, let's see. Forgive me, folks, reading, I'm not a fast reader. That's part of my special kid, being a special kid. If there was one book you would recommend to read to make the switch to an entrepreneurial mindset, Candace, I'm not exactly sure I could give you a book off the top of my head. However, I'll bet you've read a book that you could. Candace Smiley asked of me what would be one book to help people develop the entrepreneurial mindset. I'm certainly open to having anybody make a recommendation right now. That's a great concept. Accountability for results. Okay, from Hans. I came on a little late. Okay, Hans, let me just do this right now. www.youtube.com/Fred Holmes Zija. That's my YouTube channel. Let's see if I can get a link for the playlist. Give me 1 second. Playlist. All right. Well, that's an ugly URL. Okay, and then Hans, that's the link to the playlist. Okay, so first link is my YouTube channel. Second link is to the playlists that I was referring the 4 little training. Let's see what book. Now is the time. Oh, Pat Anderson recommended Now is the Time as a book, as a recommended reading for how to develop your entrepreneurial mindset. Now is the time. Take note, folks. I just took a note from, you know, a recommendation from Pat Anderson. You know, why wouldn't you take Pat Anderson? My guess is probably number 3 income earner in the entire company. Why wouldn't you take a recommendation from her? Magic of Thinking. Oh, Reed Nelson. He recommends The Magic of Thinking Big. I think I have that one. Thank you, Reed. I appreciate that. Now, for those of you that, and thank you, Lauren Best. For those of you that are, you know, right now inspired to try and do what you can to make it to convention, get a hold of your upline. Okay. Convention tickets, there's discounts that may be available through your upline diamond. There are a number of people. I know of 2 gals that have gotten a 2-room suite at one of the fancy hotels there, and they want to pack it with, you know, a half a dozen other people, right? And so there are ways to get to convention to minimize your costs, to minimize, you know, the outlay of money. The Go Givers, Relentless. Okay, there's a lot of books that have been recommended here. Andrea Longo recommends Relentless. We need to connect, Andrea. Relentless by Tim Grover. Let's see. Lauren and Ray, your first convention. Congratulations. Looking forward to seeing you there. They also made, Lauren made a recommendation, Escape by Anik Singal. Okay. Sorry, guys. I don't want to lose this. I know I'm not doing a very good host thing right now, but I'm jotting down notes, but I don't want to lose any of these books recommendations. 4 stages of becoming a successful entrepreneur, from employee to entrepreneur. If you are part of our team, can't wait to see you at our party Friday night. Yeah, absolutely. Connect with, that's going to be the social event of the year. I can't believe I'm excited about the social event of the year for Zija, but I am. Any questions, any parting comments, any thoughts? Got a minute or 2 left here. This is your time, folks. Let's see here. Sure, having AJ, good to see you. I think we're getting pretty close. I think that's probably we're going to put a wrap on it with that. So just in closing, folks, we are going to maintain our schedule of events. Pat's presentations. I want to do a quick shout out to Candace Smiley. Many of you know Candace story. She's one of our you know, rising stars in Zija, Emerald on her way to Diamond. She's taking one for the team. She will be hosting the Thursday evening Biz Talks presentation, same time, 8:30 Eastern time. And we will be going live and direct to the Diamond Gala reception. And I will be there to introduce you to a few of the people that will be there as well. So, you know, my hat's off to Candace for stepping up to the plate and taking on that responsibility. And I think that's it for now. Hope this has been helpful. Always enjoy my time. I hope you guys have as much fun as I do doing this, or joining us. And we'll look forward to seeing many of you at the upcoming convention. And we'll be right on track next week for the standard activities. All right, take care. Thanks for all your help. And those of you that made recommendations and suggestions, I appreciate your support and your feedback. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon and evening, and we'll see you Monday night. David Moses, Millionaires in Training. Take care. Bye-bye.